All right, so welcome back. Before we restarted the link, Mr. Hafizur Rahman, was trying to ask a kind of question or something. So please you can go ahead.
Sir, I think it would be better to wait for the rest student. There are only 11 students here.
Yeah,
So,
we should wait for a while, right? For a few minutes.
yes.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So I am waiting.
মিস্টার হাফিজুর রহমান তোমার সোয়াল গড়ি ফেলানো স্যারেরে স্যার ইয়ান পরে জবাব দিয়ে দিতে সময় আসছে হয়ে যাবে
Okay, sir. I would like to ask about the transparency and confidentiality. So, can you hear me, please,
Yeah,
sir?
please, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, first of all, I would
Mm,
like to know about transparency.
mm,
Sir, what kind of things and information must be addressed and shared freely to maintain transparency for the public?
hmm,
Secondly, what activities and information must not be shared to maintain confidentiality for public?
mm. Okay.
Definitely.
So this is a very complicated and a very, a difficult question to answer. And the reason is simple. What is transparency is clear for everyone to know, like to see. Transparent. If I am transparent in my dealing, it means you can look through me. There is no point in time where I've hidden something and, profess something different. For example, a transparent election is an election which processes can be followed. How we decided the date of the vote. For example, you have an election on Monday and you got to know about the election on Sunday. That is not transparent. The information didn't get to you in time, and transparency or lack of transparency is largely because someone else wants to do something very bad. So transparency is a must. It builds trust, even in relationships. If you're married, if you have a girlfriend, you should be transparent. You shouldn't be inconsistent. You shouldn't be hiding something and saying something different. You shouldn't hide or hold some kind of information just for someone's interest or for your own interest. You should be able to be open to everyone. That is exactly what transparency is. But then your next point is where the problem is. You know, there are things that breed conflict in the society. And I'm going to mention them. One is tribal issues. But let me ask you, among the Rohingyans, how many languages do you have? How many tribes of Rohingyans do you have?
In our Rohingya, sir, there
Yes.
is our own language, Rohingya, and also in Myanmar, there is a Burmese language.
Okay.
But in our own language, there is only Rohingya language.
Okay. Very good. So the people, for example, if you talk about in Myanmar, you have the Burmese, you have the Rohingyans, and you have these two languages, like they're the main languages spoken in Myanmar, right?
Sure, sir, sure.
Very good. So you have your leadership, and the Burmese also have their own leadership. That is traditional. I'm not talking about the presidential kind of level. We have, in Ghana, for example, we have more than 100 languages and tribes. Now, if you are a leader and you want to deal with such things or such people, you have to be very careful. When you talk about tradition or you talk about their tribes and you talk about their culture, you have to be very careful. It breeds conflict. Two, when you're dealing with religion, I'm a Christian, someone is a Muslim, the other person is a Buddhist. When you're dealing with such people, you have to be different. You have to be very careful. Then we have land issues. This is my land. This is his land. No, this is not his land. This is my father's land. He left it to me. I cannot, trade it for anything. Do you understand it? That is also a thing that a state must handle, carefully. In dealing with these four things that I mentioned, sometimes state holds certain information because we call it sensitive information. Sensitive information or information that have the capacity or no, that have the ability to, or that have the tendency, sorry, to cause mayhem or problem. So it's not everything that is for everyone's consumption, even though we are in democracy. That is what I'm trying to say. It's not everything that is for everyone's consumption. Because in philosophy, we say that I have the right to say what I want to say, but I don't have the right to force you to understand how I want you to understand it. Should I repeat it? I have the right to say whatever I want to say, but I don't have the power to force you to understand it the way I want you to understand it. It is mine to say. It is yours to understand it how you want to understand it. I cannot force my understanding on you. Because we don't understand same, or we don't understand the same way, people have to be very, very careful with some information. There is censorship. That is what people don't get. But then people use the same thing as a main excuse to lie, to hide information that is actually meant for the people. So there is what we call um, um, exploitation. People exploit some kind of avenue for their own advantage or to their own advantage. Do you understand it? So sometimes a certain information can be not for public consumption. A certain information can also be for public consumption. So that is it. So it's not everything that is meant for everyone. And sometimes people have to hold something. And, so that, people's sentiments are not played with. But in politics or in the kind of democracy we're talking about, transparency is a key, is a principle that we have to follow for good governance. I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Hafizur Rahman.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Uh, Basically, I also want to ask another thing very
Okay,
related with this transparency.
sure.
Sir, here is an organization. I
Hmm.
cannot specifically tell in this. Here is an organization. There will be a big event. So the person who is the owner of this organization is not telling the exact time and the day when the event will be started
Exactly.
for uh, for the audience, for the public. So
Hmm.
will it be transparency or confidentiality, sir? Why he is not telling?
No, that is why I'm telling. The problem is that some people hold certain information just to make it like to so that it will advantage some kind of people. For example, Mr. Mumin El Yassin and Mr. Yassinullah are my friends, and they are going to be candidate for a certain election. And Mr. Habibullah is not my friend. I don't like him, and he's also a candidate. So I can decide to pre-inform them, like Mr. Yassinullah and Mumin El Yassin. I can give them free pre-information. I can give them information weeks ago, weeks before the election. They prepare, they start their campaign, they start bribing people to vote for them. But Mr. Habibullah didn't have that kind of information just because I hate him. This is not fair. Or at the, you know, highest part of it. Sometimes it's not because I hate him, but because I think that he's not going to do things that I like. So I just, um, create a kind of a system that is going to favor the people I like or the people who are going to do my bidding. And that is not fair. That is not transparency. Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your elaborate explanation.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much for your question. That is quite um interesting question. Thank you, Mr. Hafizur Rahman. Now, please let's continue. And here, so the pillars of accountability, we have how do you train power? The first one is vertical accountability, where people go and vote and choose. That is why autocracy is not a very good system of governance, because how do we hold the leaders accountable? They rule for a very long time, and when they're about to die, they choose their children. Some of them are very foolish and stupid to lead us. Some of them were your classmates and they were not very smart, and they are our leaders. Why? He is a leader by the virtue of the fact that his father was the leader before him. Do you understand it? And that is not very good. Horizontal accountability is where the courts and agencies or the audit, the executive branch and the ombudsman and the rest, check the site. And we have the diagonal social, that is a social accountability where people write, journalists go out to look for information. For example, let me say this, please. Not all of you should enter politics. Not all of you should be politicians. Not all of you should study political science and international relations. Not all of you should study peace studies and all those things. Don't be influenced by the situation among Rohingyans or the situation of Myanmar. Don't look at your agony and to decide your cause. If not, all of you are going to study the same thing. Some of you should prepare to be lawyers. Some of you should be prepared to be investigative journalism. And some of you should be part of what? Public protest. The reason is that whatever you serve in a society can help in the fight or in the cause of Rohingyans. If you're a lawyer, you can fight for the right of your own people. If you are an investigative journalist, you can go down, you can go into the corners, you can go into the society to make sure that you get the information that is classified so that you bring out the rot or the bad deeds of societies, or you can even bring out the good things that your people are doing through investigative journalism. So you guys should also look at other options, okay? And that is also very good for you. Now, because this social accountability, for example, if, for example, Mr. Idris or Mr. Mohammed Anwar decides to be a journalist, you can make sure that he interviews and bring out everything about Rohingya that is true. But if you don't enter journalism and someone from your adversaries, that is the people who are, opposing you, become journalists, how do you expect them to be fair to you? Excuse me to say this, but there is a saying, there is a proverb that says, until the animals in the forest write their own story of what happens in the forest during hunting, the story of the forest will always glorify the hunter. Let me say it again. Until the animals in the forest come together to write their own story of what really happens in the forest during hunting, the story of the forest will always glorify the hunter. The hunter is someone who goes around in the forest, kill animals for food. Sometimes he sells them. But the hunter comes back and tells us the story. Oh, I went to the forest. I saw a buffalo and I shot the head. And there was another dangerous animal. I shot it, and everyone would be like, bravo, bravo. Yeah, yeah, you're great. That is one-sided story. He goes to the forest and brings out that kind of story. What if he lies to us? How do you know that? What if he went to the forest and he was chased by, let's say, a very big snake? Who would know? We would not be able to know. But if the animals in the forest come together and decide to write their own story of what really happened in the forest, then they might also give people the chance to know exactly what the story of the forest is, not from the hunter, but from the animals themselves. In this case, excuse my language, you are those in the forest being hunted. The Western media or the traditional media have always skewed their story not to favor you. So how do you bring the truth? You bring out the truth by, being part of, the activities that bring out the truth itself. Do you understand it? Very good. Now, let's go to the next one. Now, globalization and transnational governance, sorry. So here we're looking at the shrinking of the sovereign state. Shrinking is going down, shrink. Something is reducing in size, it's shrinking. So the economic interdependence, sorry. So here, transnational governance is like globalization and we're living in a global world, and transnational governance is governance that exceeds a certain sovereign state, like it goes beyond it. So economic interdependence here is global financial market and supply chains that constrain the purely independent economic policy of individual states. So a state like Russia is very powerful and it misbehaves. Other powerful states can decide not to buy their oil, not to buy their flour. They can decide to affect whatever is happening in their country through blockade, through embargo. Do you understand it? They block their means, to sell such products, and it becomes a problem. But then, if they decide to depend on each other through trade, no, sorry, Myanmar sells oil to Ghana, and Ghana sells, um, let's say, fruits like pineapples to Myanmar. That is what interdependence kind of economic policy, global financial market and states that, get interested in other state affairs and they do what we call the trade. Then we have what we call the supranational authority, organizations like UN, World Trade Organization, that is WTO, and the European Union and the IMF. You should know all the shortcut abbreviations: United Nations, WTO, World Trade Organization, EU is European Union, and IMF is International Monetary Fund. And they increasingly dictate rules that override or heavily influence domestic laws. So they are very powerful. And sometimes, for example, IMF can decide not to help any country that is suffering. And when they don't help, the state collapse. The state collapse. And when in difficulty, many states and many countries, engage the IMF for a bailout. Now we have what we call the democratic deficit. That is a challenge that transnational organizations make rules affecting millions of citizens, but their leaders are not directly elected by those citizens. So the democratic deficit means a gap. A gap is a kind of a hitch or a problem that we have if in democracy says the challenge that transnational organizations make rules affecting millions of citizens. So state or transnational organizations like the IMFs, like, the World Trade Organization and all those things, and the European Union, they make rules, and these rules affect millions of citizens. For example, they decide not to trade. For example, look at Iran. For many years, because of what the West thinks Iran is doing to its people, which is also open, for a lot of discussion, because some of us don't believe that that is the case. Because of that, instead of punishing their leaders, they decided to punish the whole country. Okay, we are the United States and we're not going to trade with Iran again. Who is going to be affected? The citizens of America, no, sorry, the citizens of Iran are going to be affected. But their leaders, the leaders of that countries, are not directly elected by those citizens. The leaders of those people or those transnational organizations, we didn't elect them. We didn't choose them. Iran didn't choose them. But how can they decide to affect the lives of the people in that, democratic dispensation? And that is kind of a problem of, deficit of democracy. You know, someone somewhere is deciding, and his decision or their decision affect your citizens, and that is a kind of a big thing. Now, so that is it. So let's look at this one. Here we have contemporary challenges, contemporary political challenges. This is very important for me. Contemporary political challenges. Contemporary political challenges. What are the contemporary political challenges? When you say contemporary, it means things that are happening right now, what is currently, like current political challenges, the political challenges or difficulties we have right now, these days. Populism and democratic decay. Decay is rot. If something is rotting or is getting, it's losing its, facial look or value, then we say it is decaying. So populism and democratic decay. So populism, what is populism? It's a political approach that divides society into two antagonistic groups, the pure people and the corrupt elite. They often reject pluralism. Populism, when people decide or consciously divide the society by saying that or by asserting that they are the good ones and the other ones are the bad ones, and they trade or they thread on that road. Do you understand it? That is populism. For example, Mr. Mohammed Salim decides to be the leader of Rohingyans, and he decides to see any other group that is not Rohingyan as sorry, let me take some honey, excuse me. He decides to declare any other group that is not Rohingyan as evil group. That is populism. You think, or he thinks, that the only way Rohingyans can thrive is by making the other side of the people their enemy. That is populism. Then polarization, the severe fracturing of political culture. Fracture is to injure. We fracture it, political culture. It is driven by echo chambers, digital media, extreme partisanship, making governance consensus nearly impossible. Polarized. Polarization is very close to populism because, they are, they are related somehow. if you polarize things, is to make group of a certain society. You fracture, you bring factions in the society. Mr. People, yes. So we, the digital media, polarization of the media is, for example, we have in CNN is quite polarized. It is always fighting for the interests of America. Al Jazeera is always fighting for the interests of the Arabs. You know, when the media is polarized, we have a problem. Or a certain political system or the electoral or the party system of a country is extremely polarized. That is, this is either you're this party or you're that. Polarization is also kind of a contemporary challenge. Then institutional decay, when established political structures fail to adapt to changing societal demands. This is an institution, and this is what the institution does. What is very funny is that other people think that, no, we work here, this is what the institution does, and we cannot change anything to meet the demands of the people contemporarily. Contemporarily, there are so many things. For example, there is an institution that deals with students in your country. When you go for a document, now the changing societal demands is that when you need a document, maybe you need a PDF of it. You need to write an application and all these things, but then you need to write, you need to, apply and get it. You can write an email, but then they'll be like, no, you have to come there. Maybe the institution is far away. The building of the institution is far away. They'll ask you to walk or to, be on a vehicle to that long distance, apply, come back, wait for some days, go back and have everything printed and stamped. When they can actually have you apply everything or apply for all those documents via email, and you receive a PDF copy of which you can make a hard copy of it. Like make a hard copy of, you understand it? And that is exactly what happens. They'll be like, no, they want to go through the manual system, with this, a cake. And when we don't change this, that is one thing. And the second thing is that many things have changed. The world is changing, but the decisions don't change. And this is going to make the people lose interest in in your governance, and they don't even, respect their state, or they don't think their state is legitimate again. So look at this one. This is something we're going to discuss for a few seconds, then, no, sorry, a few minutes, then we'll say bye-bye for, today. So look at this one. In a highly globalized world where multinational corporation and international organization hold massive influence. So multinational corporations, the NGOs, all these big societies we have that are multinational and international organization, they have a lot of influence, massive, big influence. And they also have, they have a lot of influence. So that's vertical accountability. That is citizens voting for local politicians still matter. So Mohammed Salim, Habibullah, Mumin Ali Yassin, and everyone here, do you think it is important to still vote for people? Though we have international organizations that have a lot of influence, sometimes more than your state leadership has. Do you think we need to vote? The floor is yours. If you have any answer, you can give me. Yes, Mr. Mohammed Salim, please.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
As the discussion prompts, in a highly globalized world where multinational corporations and international organizations hold massive influence, Does vertical accountability, citizen voting for local politician still matters? Yes, still matters.
Why?
When international organization and multinational corporation have massive influence, also we need local leaders.
Mhm.
We should vote for them
Yes. Why?
to
Why do you think we should?
cooperate or uh, yes, sir.
No, why do you think we should vote for the local leadership? Yes.
I think we should vote for the local politician to deal with the international organizational bodies, multinational corporations, authorities to address our issues and to talk with them for our betterment and our society development.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. That's a very good, response. Who else has something different to say? Mr. Hafizur Rahman, yes, the floor is yours. Mr. Hafizur Rahman, you can speak now, please. Okay, I think Mr. Hafizur Rahman is not with us. Yes, who else wants to say something on the topic on this on the floor? Well, yes, Mr. Mumin Ali Yassin, you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Actually,
You're welcome.
the, actually, yes, the political accountability still matters. Even though other organizations, international organizations, have a lot of influence.
Mhm.
That citizens can still hold their local positions responsible by voting in the country. If politicians do not work for the people, citizens can vote them out. They can citizens reject the politician, the leader. People can
Mm.
also speak up,
Mm.
ask questions, and protest against the leader. Therefore, citizens still have an important role in controlling their government. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That's a very good one. Mr. Mohammed Yasir, Mr. Mohammed Yasir, the floor is yours.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, please. Wa alaikum salam.
Actually, I would like to share something as much as I can. So I think local leadership development matters because local leaders understand the real needs and challenges of their communities. Even in a globalized world, local leaders make decisions that directly affect people's daily lives, such as education, healthcare, public services,
Yes.
and community development. Give citizens a voice to choose responsible leaders
Yes.
and hold them. If not performing them. So therefore, local leadership development is important because a strong and accountable local leaders can turn people's voices into meaningful action and help build a more democratic, responsive, and resilient community. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a very beautiful one. Yes. Who else? Okay, so thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all for the kind of love you've shown me. Thank you all for your seriousness. I am very proud of all of you. I'm very proud of your resilience. I'm very you know, I'm very aware. I'm well aware of whatever you guys are going through. Of course, I don't know exactly because I am not in your camps. I am not in your shoes, and I am not in you. I am me, and you are you. And right now, you're going through a lot. And I told you from the beginning that the only thing you can do to change your own destiny is to convert this anger, convert this difficulty into resilience and hard work. Please, there is no one in the world that can solve your problems. There is one thing, there is this thing I've always said, and that is there is no one capable, no one can fight your own problems for you. You are enough for yourself. You are the only ones who can take your own people out of this problem. At this stage of your life, you don't need to fight in your camps. You don't need to do unnecessary things in your camps. Please be steadfast, be focused, and be very hardworking. Whatever you're going through today will be the biggest motivation, or will be the sweetest story to narrate in the future. But before that time comes, or when the time comes, remember, some people are going to lose their lives. Some people are going to be, sick. Many things, many bad things will happen. But we should always come out as the successful ones. We should also always come out as the people who have defeated the odds. We should come out as people who are strong. Remember your fathers. Remember your mothers. Remember your grandfathers. Remember your forefathers. If they were very quiet and they were very weak, you guys wouldn't be here. Because they were very strong, because they were very resolute, and they were very, very focused. That is why you guys are still living. They have gone through a lot of hardship, and you guys are going to make the difference. I didn't grow up in a very, cool society. My parents are not rich. My society is not perfect. And I have not made it yet, but I'm still struggling to make it myself. And I'm very, very, I'm very, very confident that you guys are also going to come out with a very successful story. Work harder, seek help, don't fight, don't organize smaller groups to call feud in the societies. Do not be relaxed. Do not be comfortable with whatever you're going through right now. Your biggest motivation should be the persecution. Your biggest motivation should be your dead families. I love you all, and I will see you again in another course. Thank you all for coming. I'm very proud of all of you. Take care of yourselves. Yes, Mr. Mohammed Salim, you want to say something? You have a few seconds. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for your valuable time, guidance, and inspiring session. We really appreciate your time and your sacrificing your precious time for us. Inshallah, sir, we will meet you again.
We'll meet you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam, Mr.
Yeah,
Kaji.
I am still on the way. My life is like a military now.
No, time is even finished. We have just like 20 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you so much for your
You're welcome.
contribution. And inshallah, of course, we will have a good discussion.
Inshallah.